It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night, and he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger, said Rocker's survivor. Known well from the movie Rocky, the Rocky series, yeah. Yes. How are you, Joe?
I am excellent. How you doing this Friday night?
I've been better, but I'm here and I'm happy. We have a great guest tonight. Welcome
awesome
to
guest.
Yes, a very awesome guest. The Philly girl tonight. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
against her.
Stop it. Welcome to IOU, everybody. Industry Outlaws United. I'm your host, Brandon E. Brooks. That right next to me in that box over there or that way is Joe, the man with the Indie Escape Plan, Ridgely. Joe, how was your week?
My week was excellent. I'm getting a lot of stuff accomplished with the Indie Escape. I see we have a IMDb page that.
Yes, we do. Yes, it's shaping up nicely. Yes. A lot of our past guests, which we thank all. Thank you. We already have some people plugging in. John Wood, thank you for coming. Bob Eckhart. CJ from my Manic Mondayz on the Indie Escape Network. Thanks for watching, buddy. All right. So Joe, we have, for the first time on IOU history, we have a contest that we're going to be doing tonight, a giveaway for one lucky watcher. So can you explain a little bit about that, Mr. Ridgely?
Absolutely. So we're going to be giving away an autographed picture of tonight's guest. All you have to do to enter is type in hashtag the Indie Escape in the comments, and at the end of the night we're going to use a randomizer and someone's going to win.
Awesome. All right, so let's just get this party started with our guest. Joe, can you show our guest reel tonight, please?
Absolutely. I am going to drop us down first and then I shall do that.
All right.
You only have like 2 moves you do over and over, and it gets a little boring.
I'm not gonna pole dance.
And what just went up your nose?
My allowance. Yes, Dad.
So, what you have New Year resolution?
Get out more into nature and get off my phone.
Yeah, that's happening.
It can happen. What's yours?
Stop eating hoagies. I'm getting a fat ass.
Again?
It can happen. Yeah.
Guys. Countdown.
Get me stoned, get me a hoagie, get me anything to get rid of this hangover. I think I'm gonna puke.
I have sex stick.
Sex stick?
It's latex, lube, bodily fluids on your business.
Had sex with Bryn.
I don't remember any of it.
Hey, this is a good thing. I always knew you guys would end up
She
together.
was gonna walk out and act like nothing happened.
Oh, I'll talk to her.
No, you won't talk to her. You won't say anything. You won't say anything to any of the girls.
Fine. My lips are sealed. You don't think I'm crazy, do you? Have you ever cheated on your wife, Dr. Walsh? Seems I just can't win.
Just this one time.
Thank you, Doctor. I know. We're almost out of time.
Wait a minute. Wait. You said you would cut me loose.
I am going to cut you loose. Great picture, don't you think?
And Millie Lane was... But you look just like her. And you're sitting right next to me.
When someone comes to see every picture played that starred my great-grand-aunt, I take notice. I like to come to see her pictures, too. How you doing, David?
I'm doing good, Lise. How you doing? Good.
It's so good to see you, Aaron. What a miracle it is having you back here.
Lise.
What? Just saying.
Hey, Lisa, baby.
I'm not your baby, Mike. Mind your own business. Sorry about that. I said no. But you said yes. And I said no again. You said yes again.
The guns won't be as accurate.
That's a stupid idea.
Do it.
No. I fly better than they can shoot.
They were like cartoon characters, but we loved them. And they came in handy.
For us, you shouldn't have. What? What is it? From Sal. A case of tuna.
You need anything?
Like another fucking Elvis lamp? Some schmuck lost in a game?
Oh.
It's completely done with Delgado, but there may be something more.
Why? What's going on? What?
Sandra Wilson. What does she drive?
Why?
Just what is it, Joey?
I don't know. It's a car. It's a Camaro, I think. A Camaro.
Don't worry about your brother. It's gonna be all right.
Willie?
Trust me. Come on. How you doing?
FBI!
It is far better to give than to receive, children. With that in mind, I urge you to open your hearts and open your wallets. Send in those checks for the needy. Make those checks payable to Hart Enterprises. Spelled H-A-R-T. For sweet baby Jesus. Remember.
Wow.
Awesome. So without further ado, a woman that I've known for the better part of 2 decades, but I have never met. Only in spirit and just supporting her career because she's awesome. She's a Philly gal, an actress, a filmmaker, and just an all-around awesome person. Brooke Lewis Bellas.
Hello. Hi, guys. Hi, Brandon and Joe. Hi, Philly and Jersey, my hometowns. I miss you so. First, and I'm going to talk tonight. First and foremost, I want to congratulate you guys on the new show, The Indie Escape. It's fairly new. We've been in talks to have me on as a guest for quite some time. I'm so honored to be here. I am so excited for you guys. I'm also incredibly impressed. Let me give you props. You guys are doing a stellar job. You're super professional. It means so much to us, to your guests, that you have everything ready to rock, and I just love it. I've watched, you've had stellar guests as well, but we'll talk about them later because I've acted with a lot of them. And I also have to say, go Eagles! We may not have made it, but we were close. They played a great season, and I will always, you could take the girl out of Philly and Jersey, to Hollywood, but you cannot take the Philly and Jersey out of the girl. So go Eagles, my birds. And last but not least, Brandon, thank you again for everything you said. We really have known each other for so long, and you have been a constant staple just of support. And I feel like you always just kind of build me up, and I hope I do the same for you. And we're always communicating on social media, and we uphold each other, and we've been wanting to work together for so long. So I know that's going to happen at some point in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on here. It's an honor. It's a pleasure to see your face, and to actually talk to you. And again, amazing shirt. Sorry, Joe. Keep the giant cup out of frame. Keep that. Yeah. Sorry. It's all Philly love tonight. Philly. So Brooke, tell us about where exactly you are. Tell us exactly from where you were born and raised. Like exactly where in Pennsylvania and how you grew up. Like small family, affluent, middle class.
So it's funny. I don't usually get asked these questions. You put me on the spot. So I was born in South Philly. So I'm mixed, and we've got a lot of different ethnicities and cultures. So I was raised very much in the world of Italian South Philly and Romanian Jewish and everybody. So, and it's funny because I was born in the city, grew up in the suburbs, but I'm so like a combination, which I think makes me who I am and makes me function in the industry, of that, Philly street scrappy girl, to the cultured, fine wine, good food, knowing the best restaurants in South Philly to go to, Hi Ralph's, I mean, all of it. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm I'm a walking contradiction. I'm a hot mess of a lot, but it works. I make it work.
Absolutely. That's why I had Eye of the Tiger as my quote, because again, I think of Philly when I think of you, and you definitely, with all the stuff you do, you definitely have always had your eye on the goals. So definitely. So where was Little Brooke always a firecracker? Were you a performer when you were young? Did you dance, sing? What were you like as a little girl?
That's a great question. So, and I hope that I can inspire with our conversation something in the people watching at all times tonight and in my life and career. So I love that question because I actually was not a firecracker at a very young age. I was incredibly shy. My parents divorced when I was 2. I was extremely sensitive and emotional and very sensitive to energies around me, very empathic, very intuitive. I still am to this day, probably, and I say it in interviews, what really drew me to the horror, mystery, thriller genres, which we'll get into later. But I was extremely shy, extremely insecure. I'm still insecure, believe it or not. People say to me all the time, you're so outspoken and you're so confident. I'm not. It's something I struggle with and I'm challenged with all the time. So it's a choice. And then I choose, with every choice, there's a consequence and there's power in our choices. So I believe in the power of choice. We talked about that off air earlier. And I choose to, even when I'm feeling anxious, and I get anxious, even when I'm feeling insecure, even when I'm feeling like the underdog or I don't belong in some way, I choose to forge ahead and move forward. So I really didn't come out of my shell and become a real firecracker, I think, until about high school. And then I blossomed and got a lot of attention, and then really tapped into my intellect in high school and college, and kind of then said, that's it. I'm going to conquer the world and hopefully pursue my creative endeavors. And here we are 25 years later, right?
Okay, that's amazing. Just not knowledge right off the bat. Like, thank you for that. So what was the first speck of acting for you? What was it, on stage? I know we'll talk a little bit about Tony and Tita's wedding, but was it in high school or college or somewhere in that time frame that you started acting?
So actually, because I was such a shy child and very insecure, I took a lot of acting classes. I mean, and I have to shout out to Philly. I studied back in the day at Walnut Street Theater School. I studied at the Arden Theater Company. In fact, I became Actors Equity Association early on, from I was understudying shows at these big theaters in Philadelphia. It's really crazy. Wow. I forget because it seems like a different lifetime. It was so long ago, and I've been in in Hollywood for 20 years after a stint in New York. So, I was doing that. So then I was doing a lot of musical theater in community theater when I was young. And then, let's see, I went to school, and then I remember doing a lot of musical theater tours. I toured and lived we drove all over the country to Chicago and Ohio. And I really have had a very interesting, colorful career. And then when I moved to New York at 21, I realized that shortly after, after having many callbacks for Broadway shows like Rent and Aida, and then I realized that I wasn't going to be a Broadway singer. I was a decent singer. I was a decent dancer, but I was more of an actress. And I think it's so important for any creatives who are watching to really know when it's time to hone in on your niche, right? And we talked about this off air too. It's when you try to do it all that you kind of get into trouble. So I realized after, thank you for mentioning Tony and Tina's wedding, and that probably was one of I joke and say my little big break, and around that same time, I was working in New York at 21, 22, 23, all the time. I was even doing, and not a lot of people know this, I was doing the shows at Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey.
Wow.
Yes, I was. The Halloween shows.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, they were probably my first paying gigs, and dinner theater, and I could go on and on.
Oh, you're doing great. So I knew this, but I just had to refresh my memory while I was researching this week. Your first major acting gig came opposite Mark Ruffalo, a young Mark Ruffalo, in the Miramax film 54. So how did this process come together? Like, was it an arduous audition process, or how did this come about to end up in this big movie at the time?
So I was and I always say I was very blessed young, and they always say too, when, you really want to go for it in this industry when you're young. The world truly is your oyster, and it was mine for a period of time. So I was doing Tony and Tina's wedding. Once you become, and this is what I want everyone to hear, and I'm going to answer your question, but I'm making a point using me as an example. Once you become a money maker in the industry, once you become a commodity, and I know a lot of people don't really understand the business of the business and they have a hard time wrapping their brain around it. I can clarify it and qualify it for you. So once I became a money maker, making money in Tony and Tina's wedding and doing quite well, it was an Actors Equity Association contract. That's when, and I was super young, agents were coming to me, which is a gift that we all know. It's so rare, and it's a gift because I was making money, because I was a working actress in New York City. So, I mean, I was signed at a very young age with Paradigm. I was commercially signed and print with William Morris at one point. So that being said, and then I was with Carson Kolker Agency, who's still in New York. That's who got me the audition for 54. And I had a callback and I booked it. And literally, this is like one of the most amazing stories of my career and one of the most painful. So I booked it, and we were all coming up at this time in the industry. Mark Ruffalo, Ryan Phillippe, Dominic Lombardozzi. I mean, these incredibly seasoned, brilliant, all of them actors to this day. But we were all at the same time, like, unknown. And they had done a couple bigger things, obviously. So I book 54. My agent sits me down and says, you are projected to be my idol, one of my idols and icons. You are projected to be like the next Marissa Tomei and my cousin Vinny, because I was playing like a little Jersey Guidette, Mark Ruffalo's girlfriend, in 2 scenes. And I was like, this is like your big break. So I go on to set. I have my own trailer, and I'm being treated like a rock star, and it's a Miramax film. And this wonderful young first-time director at the time, Mark Christopher, who is lovely, he's directing this picture. And here's what happens, guys. You heard what I said and what the agents and casting directors were projecting for me, and it's happened a couple times. Well, they go over budget, and I want to be careful what I say and be respectful. They go over budget, and the first day I'm there all day, and they cut one of my scenes. Okay. So the AD, and it was a female AD, and that was very rare back then. Wow. So the AD sends me home. They call my agent. They're like, we're going to bring you back tomorrow. They bring me back again. I literally was there for, I think, 3 days, if I remember correctly. And so you're paid every day, which is great. I get residuals to this day, but every day there was an issue. They either went over budget, they went over schedule, something had happened, and my scenes were cut from the film. So that is what happens in this business, and I share it because to this day it breaks my heart, and I always will wonder what if, because it was such a high-profile film with Ruffalo, and it made their careers, and Campbell, and Salma Hayek, and Mike Myers, and the list goes on. And so, I'll always wonder, that was like my big break, and it's gone. And so I think, I'll cry right now, I really will, but I think what that did for me was it showed me very young and very early on what happens in this industry, and it may have nothing to do with you. As much as you want to take it personally, you cannot. And so it pushed me even harder to say, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to try again. I'm not a quitter. I'm going to go. And that's what I did. And I always say, well, I ended up having some bigger breaks too, and some little breaks along the way, but I'm here and I'm standing and I never quit.
That's making me emotional, because that's what it's about. Like, if you don't have the passion and you don't quit, then you have a shot. You have a shot to continue and have a long career like you have. Just like Daniella Shepard, who's one of our IE host on one of her shows, says,
Hi,
wow, that's
Daniella.
tough. Yes, and Bob Eckhart said, Brooke, you are always an inspiration. Yes, which is very, very true. Very true.
I love you, Bob. Bob's in Australia, you guys. Mwah!
Oh, wow. Down under.
Amazing.
Thank you for watching, Bob. So you kind of answered a little bit of what my next question was, but this is a tough business, like, as we all know. Everybody watching knows, and anybody who's done it on any type of a level that's continued to go, or even that's quit. So what are some things that you love about the business, and some things that you don't love so much?
These days, I love less than I love. But I think, I mean, first and foremost, you know, I'm an actress and producer. I've written. I don't fancy myself a writer. I've directed before. I don't fancy myself a director. I respect those professions so greatly, and it is not for me. I happen to be, and I will say this humbly, I happen to be a very good producer. It's part of my personality. It's part of my nature. I'm insanely organized. I think humbly. I'm a good leader. And so it comes very naturally to me. Acting actually comes harder to me. I've had to work very hard. I've had to prove myself over and over again as both an actress and producer. So for me, first and foremost, everything in this industry is about my heart and the art, and acting comes first through and through. Everything I've ever produced, for the most part, I've produced things I haven't acted in, but for the most part was so that I could continue to act, so I could play roles that would not have been afforded to me had I not been a producer, executive producer on the project. So I do like producing very, very much, but acting is like my heart and soul. It truly, truly is. So that's the first thing I love about the business. The other thing I love, and I've done mainstream work, as you know, I really have done a lot more indie stuff, as you know, as you have, Brandon. And so the thing I love about the indie world, and especially about the genre world, is that it gives you platforms, it gives you opportunities to do things, push the envelope, make creative choices, make artistic choices with artistic integrity, and that's what I believe in. And in ways that the mainstream world would never allow us to do. So, and I've made, you know, I want to say, like, at times a decent living doing this. You know, now again, we could talk about later the differences in the indie film world and the different levels of the indie film world, where you actually used to be able to make a nice paycheck producing and acting, certainly in a film, and now it's harder to do than ever. But that being said, I do love how you are able to explore more art. I mean, and again, and Brandon, you'll get this, and a lot of the viewers will get this. Like, for me, you know, I came up in New York, and for me, like, I love the raw, edgy indie films like the Brothers McMullen, you know, and then we can go to a little higher budget, like Swingers, you know, like, oh, there's so many. I mean, and even the Miramax films that were a little bit higher budgeted, like A Shakespeare in Love, you know, all of those. Those are the films that I kind of grew up sort of watching. I mean, Todd Solondz, Welcome to the Dollhouse, and I could go on and on because we are cinephiles here. So those are the indie films that I loved, that I miss. I mean, you could even go to a little bit later, and I was at Sundance Film Festival the year that Napoleon Dynamite like exploded, right? So you're going, yeah. And again, we'll talk horror stuff too. Of course, I'm a grateful scream queen. But so that's what I love about the indie world. I also want to say that I love so much about the indie world that just the fans, man. I mean, anybody watching now, thank you. My fans, I really would be nothing without them, without you guys. And they've come with me through some amazing films and amazing performances of mine, to some not so amazing films and not so amazing performances of mine. And they still cheer me on all the way through, us indie people, you know, and there's just such a supportive community. So that's what I love. And one last thing to answer, you know, and it's tough now, but pre-pandemic, had you asked me, and I'm honest, I'm open, you know, I'm a glam girl and I love nice things and I love fancy dresses, and I've been blessed to go to some of the biggest red carpet events in Hollywood over the years. I truly have been so fortunate. And I used to love that. And I still will love it again. I used to love getting all glammed up, dressed up, hanging out with A-list rock star celebrities on the Sunset Strip. But I want to say this, that the pandemic changed me a lot, changed my philosophy a lot, it humbled me in so many ways. And I hope it humbled you guys too, where it taught me for sure what's really important in life. And so for me, the things I used to love so much, I'll love again to a degree in the industry, but probably never as much as I used to. And I won't do it as much as I used to. And I won't do it the same way as I used to, because I know what's really important for me in life. I can't speak for anyone else, but right now I'm going to get emotional. Like for me, all I want to do is amazing creativity, art with professionalism, and people around me and teams around me. And I have been blessed to work with incredible teams, but even more and expanding outside of my teams, where we are on the same page, where we have the same artistic vision, and where we really support one another. Because more than ever, it is so important to support artists and support one another.
Shout it from the mountaintop. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, that's well, man, you're already giving us the nuggets throughout the show. So thank you for that again. So for those of you who don't know, it's Women in Horror Month, and like Brooke said, she's a proud scream queen. I've asked this of a couple prior guests. Have you found any drawbacks as a female in a predominantly male-dominated at one point business that still kind of is in a way that we're fighting to get through? So have you found any drawbacks as an actress or a filmmaker?
Always. Every project, every day. Absolutely. I agree with you. I do think that it's shifting and transcending. Of course, we know that, just like diversity is, that we need more of, and you know how I feel about that. So it is shifting. I mean, honestly, I still think that women are a minority in this industry. And, you know, so I do think it's shifting and it's amazing. But I've been challenged 20 years ago to now. I've been challenged throughout my entire career. I still feel challenged quite often when I am working in an industry, especially in Hollywood, at a level where it is predominantly male, and I don't always feel like my voice is accurately heard. I do not always feel respected, both as an actress and a producer, and I'm even talking as a producer. You know, I don't always feel like I'm in the boys club. And, you know, I talk about that a lot in interviews, how much my icons and idols, you know, Elizabeth Taylor and Mae West, because they inspire me so, because they really broke through and they broke down the doors and the barriers within the Hollywood boys club. And I love men. So I love my husband. I love my guy friends. I love my male associates, but so I'm not like a women's lipper in that way at all. I want to make that clear. And I believe in equality. And I think even to the point where I start to get a little bit over the whole, I don't want to say Me Too movement, because I support it tremendously, but forgetting that, at some point, I just wish it would be the best person for the job. You know, so that's how I feel. But I feel like, especially, let me say this, and I say this again humbly, especially as like, because I love hair and makeup. I love to wear the sexy shirts, you know, because of, and I'm very short and voluptuous and petite and curvy. So, and ethnic, you know, and so I don't think I've always been taken as seriously as my male counterparts. So I will say that as well. And let me say this for any other actor, producers, and Brandon, I know you are, anyone who's like the multi-hyphenate in the industry these days too. I do think it's been very challenging for me as an actress, because when you are acting in something that you are also producing, there is a fine line. There are boundaries that are bound to get crossed over and over again. And again, you are not going to be as respected, and I don't care if it's male or female, as your counterparts who are just producing or just directing. So I know I'm answering in a roundabout, like, big way, but the answer is yes. I mean, absolutely yes. And I don't think that people would look at me. I mean, I've been called, you know, I remember back in the day when I first really became very relevant, like 2007, 2008, you know, broke, especially in the genre films and stuff. And people would say, how are you producing? Like, nasty people on the internet. How are you producing? Like, you look like a porn star. You look like a porn star, or like, oh, you use your sexuality or whatever. And I have, and I don't judge, and we know this. I've never done nudity. I've never been killed in a horror film.
Oh, wow.
I have not. So, and I don't judge anyone else. I choose what feels right for me. So my point to all of it is like, you know what? The judgments need to go, and if I have to work extra hard to prove that I am intelligent, that I am skilled, that I'm educated, so be it. And that is what I've had to do my entire career and still do.
Again, shout it from the mountaintop. Like CJ said, and I'll second it. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being so honest. Yes. And Doug Robbins says, horror can be an empowering genre for all types of people. Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's done right, it definitely can uplift. All right. So who is Miss Vampy?
my alter ego, Miss Vampy. Hello. So Miss Vampy's resting in her coffin for quite a few years now. But wow. So I will say this as quickly as I can. So when after doing, I've performed on Broadway. Literally on Broadway, with Whoopi Goldberg and Sarah Jessica Parker, and, at Broadway benefits when I was young. After doing Broadway, I worked on a Fox sitcom for a bit. I did the Mafiosa TV pilot. I had done all these mainstream things, mobster movies in New York. No one knew who I was. No one cared. I broke out. Unbeknownst to me, had a title, Scream, the Scream Queen, bestowed upon me. And I say that intentionally about being bestowed, because I think a lot of women in the horror genre will acknowledge that, so many people just get naked, pour blood on their boobs, and become a Scream Queen. So the point to that is, when I was invited into the horror genre, and it really was through thriller films, like mystery thrillers, and that's where Brandon and I actually first connected, Kinky Killers on Showtime, that I got to act in opposite the amazing Charles Durning, rest his soul, Michael Pare, thank you so much. And I was one of the executive producers, one of a few executive producers. So I became known as a Scream Queen. And again, being a trained actress and having done all these other mainstream projects prior to that, I didn't ever imagine that I would become a known horror person or horror actress. So when I did, and then we did Kinky Killers on Showtime. Then we did the amazing Robbie Bryan and Christy Patella. We'll talk about them later for sure. And I know you know Robbie so well. iMurders, that we must discuss in detail later. So then it was iMurders, where I got to act with Tony Todd and Frank Grillo, and the list goes on and on. Billy D. Williams, crazy. I think about like all these people, it's crazy. So when I became a horror person, and then I have to shout out what really put me on the map in horror, and I'm going to answer your question, I promise, but I have to give backstory here, how Ms. Vampy was born. Slime City Massacre. When Greg Lamberson came to me, amazing Greg Lamberson, and he was doing the sequel to his 1988 classic, Slime City Massacre. I had broken out in horror. He came to me. He wanted me to come on in some type of way as a producer and also act in one of the female roles. And so I did, with the amazing, Debbie Rashan and Lloyd Kaufman, and the list goes on, and Keelan Patrick Burke. So here I was, 2007 to 2010, I'm going to say, like really exploding in horror, gratefully. And this marketing company had come to me, and I was doing like a lot of, I was invited to do a lot of Scream Queen photo shoots at the studios here in Hollywood. And I was doing a lot of like vampire sort of, I'm certainly not a model, but like some modeling photos, and this marketing company came to me. Thank you. Yes, that was one of them. And hit me up and said, we want you to do like an app. We're going to do, think about this. We're talking 2008, you guys. So, and the only person I knew who was doing these like web series and apps was like P. Diddy, like, right? Honest to God. So I'm like, what? But I'm a visionary, and I stay open, because you never know what is going to be that thing for you or that break for you. So that's what happened. They came to me, and I took a meeting, and they said to me, we saw your vampire photos. We want you to be, we want to give you an app. We want to work with you. It's great. Brandon, you'll love this. We want to work with you. We want to do the app with you. We want to do a web series with you, but Philly Chick Pictures, your production company, is going to finance it and film it, and then we'll distribute it. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna finance it. You know how this goes, you guys. Any filmmakers listening. So when they did that, and they're like, so you'll be on the app, and we want you to be like Brooke, and I was Brooke Lewis at the time. I'm now Brooke Lewis Bellas, and so they wanted me to be Brooke Lewis, vampire goddess, and they were like, we want you to do like really sexy stuff and sexy lingerie and blah blah. And I was like, listen. You know, and they're like kind of playmate-ish stuff. And yeah, I was younger and cute then, but you know, that was never my inspiration, aspiration, or niche. I'm not judging anyone whose it is. It wasn't mine. And I put my foot down then, and I'm sharing it for a reason. And I stood my ground, and I said to this big marketing company with a bunch of executives, listen, I'm like, you have the wrong girl. There are way hotter, younger, sexier women who do horror stuff, who don't do horror stuff. There are playmates all around here in Beverly Hills. Like, so I'm not your girl. But I took it with me, and I went, they're on to something. I believe in these web series. I believe in these apps. I think this is going to go somewhere one day. And I was like, but if I do this, I have to make sure it's in line and in alignment with my, and back then nobody talked about the word brand. You know, it had to be in alignment with my niche, with my messages. And so I'm like, I looked at the body of my biggest work. And when I was doing all the vampire modeling stuff at the studio, at this Oscar-winning effects studio, and everyone would always say to me, oh my gosh, you're such a vixen. You're so vampy. You're so vampy. And I was like, so I went, I'm going to look at the body of my biggest work and what I love. And that is years of comedy, mobster movies, and now horror. And I put it all together and embraced it because it's my essence that I have to sell. And I went, I am Ms. Vampy. And that is how she was born. And we went on to make several web series at the studio, and it exploded. And listen, at that point, you know, I had broken out in horror, and I had tons of horror fans, and I was so grateful. And I was so scared, Brandon, I have to say this, and I hope again, it inspires the viewers if you're creating projects. So I'm like, okay, I just did, you know, Dahmer versus Gacy. I did Slime City Massacre, you know, or was doing Slime City Massacre, or I did iMurders, I did Kinky Killers, everything. I'm like, okay, I'm either going to piss the horror universe off, you know, with this like comedic kind of, I mean, obviously I can't even compare myself to Elvira, who was another icon and idol of mine from childhood. And I'm like, but I'm either going to piss the horror audience off or they're going to love it. There's no in between here. And I'll never forget the first webisode of Ms. Vampy launched on a Friday. And within a couple hours, I was like exploding on social media. And we had 16 sites cover us, like media sites immediately. And they were like loving every minute of it. And that's how she was born.
That's amazing.
I know it's long. My answers are long. Sorry.
Hey, no, it's a great answer. So Daniella Shepard, who's another amazing Indie Escape host, has a question. If you could write your ideal horror role, what would it be?
Oh, I love that, Daniella. So I'm like thinking about what I'm allowed to say, not allowed to say. So I, especially Daniella, as I get older, you know, and I don't listen, ladies and men, and anybody who doesn't want to identify, you know, like whatever, we do not have to buy into stereotypes. We do not have to buy into ageism. We do not. So do what inspires you. And what inspires me as I get older, especially, is I love, Daniella, the villainous roles. You know, I love vampires. I love witches and sorceresses. In fact, I just recently played a sorceress, but I can't talk about it. So that's why I was like, ooh, I love those villainous roles. And that's what I want to keep playing and do more of as I step into being able to play the older roles, more mature roles.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to be the murderer again.
Yeah, I mean, those are the most fun, like the flawed character, the one that you don't see coming, the quiet one. But
right,
the yields the biggest knife, though.
That I wanted to. Yes,
there you go.
Yes, spoilers, but Kinky Killers on Showtime. I mean, so you know, But I'm not. Look here, Daniella. Look at me. I'm never going to be the final girl in the innocent final girl. Help me. That's just not who I am, right? You know that already. So it's not my essence. And so I got to be the like killer final girl, right?
It's true. So you're such a spark of energy that is just amazing and uplifting. So yeah. So I mean that's what we need. Like it gets people excited. I know a lot of actors and filmmakers and different people watch every week. So which is a blessing. And again, it's good to see someone who's succeeding and uplifting and giving them advice that they can take and just be excited. I've gotten messages after some of these shows that whether it was an uplifting story from someone that overcame anxiety like Rob Schmidt and a lot in the childhood that was difficult and you've overcome. So again, it's uplifting in more ways than just succeeding in the film business. Life is life and we all get through our ups and downs. So Daniella says, what do you think of villain redemption arcs? Do you want the villain to be redeemable on some level or just pure evil?
Great questions. Really great questions. So interesting because I was just reading something. In fact, I'll shout out to Casting Frontier, which we all love and read. And there was an article that they just did about villains. And it's so funny. And with Willem Dafoe. And he was talking about that. And I saved it because it was so compelling for me. And like I said, I want to play these roles. So he was talking about like, yes, when you play these roles, there is always the other side, right, Brandon? I mean, you're a director too. There's always that other element, that human redeemable element. There has to be, or it will fall flat. And it will be, you don't want to do a one-note performance, but you must find the human in all characters, even the evil ones, especially the evil ones.
Absolutely. That's why we live in a world now where a lot of these shows we're sympathizing with the villain, whether it's Walter White in Breaking Bad or the guys in Sons of Anarchy or The Shield or so many amazing, but they're villains, but you love them and you love to on Ozark. They're all not good people at all, to be honest, but you love Ruth, you love Jason Bateman's character in that family because, again, they're so good as actors, but even as characters, they're so believable. But like you said, there is a human element that comes with them that you feel for because sometimes their backs are against the wall and they're doing bad things to survive. So again, you always have to have those elements like good and bad on each side, like you said.
And I love what you just said, Brandon, and you mentioned, I mean, SOA to me is one of the greatest shows ever.
Absolutely.
Ever.
I wave that flag. A lot of people don't agree with me, but it's top 3 for me all-time show.
Brilliant.
It's one of the few shows I've watched multiple times all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant writing. Shout out to a Jersey guy, Kurt Sutter, for an amazing show. So that brings me to another amazing film that you're a part of, the role of Rosella in Sinatra Club, opposite another amazing cast, Michael Nouri, Joey Lawrence. Jason Gedrick, who I grew up loving in Iron Eagle and those films. So tell us a little bit about that process with this film.
Yes, thank you for shouting out. I mean, and we could go on, also shout out to Danny Nucci, who is incredible, right?
Yes.
And Ellen Holman, who exploded. I mean, literally, I was one of the main producers on Sinatra Club, and I remember her coming in to audition, and we had so many beautiful, young, beautiful names that came in we did several auditions and producer sessions back in 2008 and 9, actually, beginning of 9. Gosh, so long ago. And so all these incredible actors. And so it's a great story. It's another one. But yeah, I love to watch how all these people have kind of exploded. I've worked with it's funny, even real quickly watching my reel, I don't look at it for me. I look at it and I sit in gratitude and shock of all these incredible people and named actors and veterans that I've had the gift to work with. So Sinatra Club is an interesting one, and one that I'm one of the ones I'm most proud of for so many reasons. It was one of the most challenging projects of my life and career. I want you guys to hear this. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Interesting. So so I was really getting into producing at that point in time, and we had done, kind of a lot of them overlap in years. I had done a film I co-produced titled Broken Angel, a beautiful film that had a Turkish full theatrical actually, that I brought Patrick Muldoon into. I'm saying this all for a reason. And then Kinky Killers on Showtime. And then iMurders, that was through Stars, right? Stars and Anchor Bay. And so I was really that was my kind of producing like heyday, right? And so Sinatra Club came to me at a party. Get this, talk about synergy, kismet, all of it. I'm at this ginormous Halloween party in 2004. I had just done a Fox sitcom, and I'm at the party, and this guy starts talking to me, this great Italian guy from up in San Francisco, starts chatting it up with me, and we're talking. He's like, "Oh, so you're an actress and you produce?" I said, "I do." And I'm getting more into the producing, and and at the time, listen to what I'm saying, filmmakers, especially indie filmmakers, we were doing these films, shooting on film. I mean, Kinky Killers, iMurders, we're talking about, $500,000 to $2 million films on film. They were able to get limited theatrical releases at the time. They were able to get Showtime and HBO releases and Stars and stuff at the time. Very different game now. We'll talk about that later. I know Brandon and I want to get into that too. So what I want to say is, the world was our oyster. And remember, it was pre the economy crashing. It was like pre that 2008 to 2010 when everything went to hell. And I sit here and I go, oh my gosh, I was able to raise a lot of financing for films back then. Not now. Much, much harder. Nothing of that level. So I see this person, starts telling me about this script. He starts pitching me at a party. And I'm like, and it's Halloween. Little do I know I'm going to become a scream queen soon, So 2004. So I start listening, and he's like, and it's based on a true story about the night John Gotti became John Gotti, based on the life of the wonderful Sal Ubats Polisi, who was part of the crew and went into the witness protection program after ratting out Gotti. He was one of the people who, spoke. So I'm fascinated. Now, I'm from South Philly, and I love the mafia. I'm obsessed with the mafia and the mob, and, grew up around a lot of it. And so I was mesmerized. So I get his information. He's like, I go, send me the script. Are there any roles I could play? He's like, in fact, there's a great supporting role for you. I was like, this is meant to be. And when it's meant to be, you guys, it's just meant to be. And I've had to learn that the hard way. When we claw and scratch and fight, and I've done it many times, I'm so guilty of it, trying to control these projects and make it work. And sometimes you can't fit a round peg in a square hole, and it just doesn't. So let me say that. That said, he sends me the script. I fall madly in love with it. It's based on a true story. There's a role, Rosella, the mobster comedic. It's Goldie and Rosella, the blonde and brunette comedic, like Gumata hookers. Couldn't be more perfect for me. And the rest is history. But hear what I want to say. 2004, found the script, developed it. They set up meetings. We used to have private meetings at midnight at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City, where all like the old rockers and everybody used to hang out. We would have our meetings there late at night because Sal and his wife, and they were all just out of the witness protection program. You can't make this shit up, you guys. You really can't. So, this is how amazing and crazy my career is. So 2004, we find it, we develop it, we raise some of the financing, we lose financing, I hire a director, it doesn't work out, we lose the director, and this goes on and on for 7 years, you guys. We finally get the financing, and I take it to an indie studio in downtown LA. They get the rest of the financing. We film, like May through July of 2009, and it is delivered and distributed in 2011. So here what I'm telling you. 2004, 2011, 7 years of my life. And I was a main producer on it. And, and respectfully had several producers and executive producers. When you're doing a project of that magnitude, for a million reasons, based on a true story, it's very delicate. You're at a studio, even an independent studio in LA, and you are, and it's like a $2 million film, and you have named actors all around and, indie names and stuff. And so it was very challenging. And here I am. So that's my Sinatra Club story. I cherish it. I learned more. I made so many mistakes on that film. I was one of the female producers amongst a lot of testosterone-driven, mobster-like guys, and I share that respectfully. I love them all, but it was emotionally incredibly challenging for me. And I learned so much about myself, you guys, and I learned so much about what I wanted to leave with on that project and step into, Brandon, and how I wanted to respect myself more after as a producer, I'm talking about, and what I wanted to create for my career after that. And it worked. So let me say that. A lot of times, you guys, we learn from failing. We learn from mistakes. And it wasn't a failure or a mistake because I'm so proud of that beautiful film, but it was a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Some of the most beautiful things come from heartache and pain and blood, sweat, and tears. So I can second, third, and fourth that. So
I know you can.
Great story. So you've also done a lot of television in your career. Tell us some of your favorites that you've done, and also tell us if you enjoy the TV process as much as you enjoy the filming process, because they're two totally different things. Like, you've also done daytime as well as sitcoms at night and different serials. So speak a little bit about that for our audience, please.
So thank you for saying that. In my opinion, I haven't done nearly enough television as much as I would like. To be honest, as I always am, TV has always been my dream. I never, honestly, you guys, I never wanted to be like the next Sandra Bullock. I really didn't. I don't think I could have handled it emotionally, mentally, being like a Julia Roberts, that I don't think I could have. And so that was never my bag. My dream since childhood was being on, TV series, numerous TV series, and I only pray it's not too late and there'll be another Sopranos and I'll be cast one day, So that being said, I just freaking love TV. To me, and again, respectfully, I'm sure it's very challenging. And I know, because I have some of my best friends that are mega star, rock star TV executives and TV writers and creators, show creators. I mean, it's so challenging in different ways. I do think, and again, I can only speak from my experience, but I do think film is even harder. It's harder to produce. It's hard. It's so challenging because you don't have the money behind you that like a TV series does. You know what I mean? Whereas TV series has the constant flow of the studio, right? And sometimes merging studios. And so there's that. As an actress, I love television. One of my greatest experiences on TV, and I've had many. Yes, I did. I did some day player work, like under fives, like speaking and all. On One Life to Live a lot, I would audition and get cast as like the nurses and stuff. When I was very young in New York, I actually auditioned and got cast as a dancer on Saturday Night Live, which was cool as hell. So what I love about it is, you go in, you do like an episode of a sitcom, whatever, you shoot for a week or two, and you're done. The money's sick. I mean, I've made the most money on TV for sure. And it's like, it's a different medium. And so any actors watching and directors too, and this, you have to make very different choices. It's a different delivery because it's a different medium. And so your choices in film are often much, much smaller, and then when you're on like a sitcom, like for me, I'll reference Quintuplets on Fox. So 2004, there you go. Thank you. So one of my favorite roles ever. And what a great story. And I got cast as Gina Grisano, and it was supposed to be a 2-episode arc, like little, 2-episode arc role. And Quintuplets was about a group of parents, Andy Richter. I mean, these are the people I've been blessed to work with. Andy Richter, and Rebecca Kreskoff and Jake McDorman, who turned into a huge mega TV star, Ryan Pinkston, who I still run into all the time and love. And so all these great young actors, oh my gosh, there's so many of them. So I get cast. It's a group of 5 quintuplet kids from Staten Island. So I get cast as Gina Grisano, and my brother is Gino Grisano, and we're the bullies, and we're the bullies of the school. So I'm in high school. I mean, I'm like, at that point, I'm pushing 30 and I'm in high school, right? Of course. Well, I
so
know.
are they all 90210, so it's fine.
You just read my mind, Brandon. Totally. So because I'm short and I was able to pull it off, whatever, I've always looked a little younger. So Gina Grisano with the crazy hair from Staten Island, and she's a bully and she's bullying. She and her brother are bullying Jake McDormand's character to take me to the school dance. So all I can tell you is this: it was unbelievable. I will never forget. I always say this. I'm very spiritual, and I believe in metaphysics and putting things out to the universe. Like if I could work on any lot or studio in Hollywood, it would be the Fox lot. Again, Fox has treated me very, very, very well. And it was just incredible. Again, having your own room in the honey wagon. And, and that's, I have to pinch myself. That's the stuff I miss, and when you're working as an actor, you're making great union money. You have your own dressing room and your own honey wagon, room in the honey wagon. You are really feeling, and that was my situation with 54, with Sinatra Club, iMurders. They treated us like rock stars too, and I was one of the executive producers, but this is now like back in the day, pre-economy crashing. I have to say that because everything shifted and changed. And so I'm an OG. I say it all the time. I miss the old days. I made great money in Tony and Tina's wedding through Actors Equity Association when I was 21, 22. I miss the days where you were properly compensated, whether you're an actor, producer, director, writer, properly compensated, properly handled. And I mean handled like a handler handle. Like I miss the days where the ADs would come and take me, or the second AD, whoever, would come and take me from my honey wagon to set. Or, and I've had stand-ins numerous times, you guys, and so have all working actors, obviously. But like those days are, for me at least, fewer and far between now. And it's not an age thing. It's a indie thing. And and I can't even say that because I have friends who are huge working TV stars on who've worked on like Orange is the New Black or these Netflix shows. And I would never reveal, it would shock you all if you knew how little money, like first season, a lot of these streaming networks actually pay actors and writers, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a masterclass tonight, folks. It's amazing. This knowledge is being dropped. CJ just said it. This is such a great show tonight. I'm eating up all the knowledge and experience. Thanks. JD Smith, it's true. Acting for TV is very different than movies. Acting for sitcoms is not the same as drama shows. And then I'm going to go backwards to Daniella again. What draws you to horror? The more psychological roles, thriller, suspense, or gore?
Love it. I absolutely love it. So for me, since childhood, and I'm going to give Philly major props. One of my first introductions, I think, I'm trying to think I want to be accurate because I remember like my mom letting me watch. I mean, we had the VHS, the VCR, right? Yes. Right. I'm old school. So like I loved Stephen King. I loved Carrie. I loved Amityville Horror. I loved The Shining. I mean, one of my favorites. Shout out! I had a mad crush on David Naughton from Making It, and also
American Werewolf in London.
Thank you, American Werewolf in London. Oh. So like those are, but I was really obsessed with mystery thrillers. Like I swear I'm a detective in a past life. I must have been. So I loved Hitchcock.
It's my own time, yeah. It's one of my favorites, yeah.
Agatha Christie, and obsessed. Now's my shout out to Philly. Brian De Palma, obsessed, and Blowout.
Yes.
I literally wanted Daniella. I wanted to be Sally, the hooker with a heart of gold, and I think I played that many times. And who knew that would happen? I wanted to be Sally in Blowout. That's all I could tell you. Nancy Allen.
That's it. Amazing. This is great. So we're going to do a little game I do every week with every guest. It's called One Sentence or Silence. It's I tell you a name that you've worked with in the past and maybe the present possibly. And you tell me a little bit about them, good or bad. And if you stay silent, that means they suck. So I'm going to start off with Casper Van Dien.
So much fun. So much fun. That's just fun and generous and filled with positivity.
A friend of the show, a friend of mine for many years, Courtney Gaines, and a friend of yours, I know, but Mr. Gaines, please.
One of my best friends who I hired and cast in Alan and Millie, a short romance that the amazing, and you love him too, Marcus Redmond wrote and directed for us. Courtney is real deal, authentic as hell, one of my best friends in the world for 15 years, one of the most talented actors who I have had the opportunity to work opposite and also who I know, and just raw. We'll give it to you like he did on your show. We'll give it to you straight. And I love him. He's like family. And Karen, who he moved, they live down south now, like he shared in the show, and they're together. And she's my darling, and they're like my family.
Mark Klebanoff.
So, everybody's like my family. So Klebanoff is like a crazy little, Kleb Madison. So Klebanoff is like my dysfunctional family too. And he's like a little brother to me. We have worked together so many times. It first started out where he hired me in that film there, Break, that Frank Kruger starred in with Michael Madsen and David Carradine, rest his soul. And so Klebanoff and I go back 100 years too. And he always tries to find something for me as an actress. He's believed in me, and thank you, Klebby. He always tries to find something for me as an actress in his films. We've done so many films together now, but I do have to say then he brought me on as a co-producer to Michael Walton's The Morning with Dominique Swain and our darling, brilliant actor, Louis Mandylor. I'm probably saying names that you're going to quiz me about in a minute, but so Klebanoff and I have the most amazing, dysfunctional, amazing relationship like family. And we have a lot more coming with Stripped and Casper Van Dien. That's all I can say.
Nice. Another very underrated actor, Bobby Costanzo.
Oh, you're killing me, Brandon. You're killing me. We're going down my memory lane. So talented again. Truly. So he played my dad and Joey's dad. We know on Friends. He played my dad in the Mafiosa pilot for Comedy Central that did not get picked up. So hear me again, you guys. This is what happens when you do a million pilots and series and you get cut out or they don't get picked up. So that was one of them. So Bobby is so much deeper of an actor than you are given the opportunity to see, because he does a lot of comedy and a lot of sitcom work and stuff. He truly is a wonderful actor and a genuine human being, and really also like kept he was the father of the Mafia family. So in Philly, we were a Philly Mafia family, and he just kept everyone together.
Amazing. Name you just mentioned, Louis Mandylor, another underrated talent.
I can't say enough about Louis. Again, we've gotten to work together now. I think I've worked with Louis as an actor and as a producer on about 5 films. He is beyond underrated as an actor, Brandon. He truly, I watch him on set and I am freaking mesmerized, not once, but every time, every show, and every take. He is brilliant. When I say brilliant, and I know I throw that word around a lot because I'm very passionate, but when I say brilliant, he, in my mind, is A-list star extraordinaire. There is freaking nothing that Louis Mandylor cannot do.
Absolutely. And he's a badass too. That'll kick your butt. Yeah. Martial arts.
And nice as can be. Sweetheart.
Absolutely. All right. Another friend of the show, Debbie Rashan.
Beautiful, inside and out, strong woman. We got to do Slime City Massacre together. We have not been in scenes together in films, so unfortunately we haven't spent a huge amount of time. We did a couple conventions together and stuff, but Debbie is like, I feel like we have a soul connection. I admire and respect her beyond reason. We chat all the time on social media. She is just real. They're real, beautiful, and again, let me say this and stress it, and I mean it with all my heart. I've told Greg Lamberson this a million times. Like, she is another one that is, she's so talented. She's so talented. And she's not given all the time enough credit because we all sometimes get, oh, they're a scream queen and they star in horror films and I'm in there too now. So Debbie is a wonderful actress and she's just so straightforward and will tell it like it is and doesn't pull any punches. She's an icon.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Ricky Dean Logan.
Crazy Ricky. Ricky's nuts, and I love you, Ricky, but I'm saying that Ricky and I have the most interesting relationship, and I mean friendship and working relationship because I freaking love his wife. She's awesome. Ricky's another one that is talent extraordinaire. And I'm not just saying this. Ricky is so damn freaking talented, you guys. Like, I've worked opposite him more than once. He's another one. He's another character actor that can freaking do anything and deserves to work more. That's what I'm going to say about Ricky. Ricky dances to the beat of his own drum. He is off the beaten path. Ricky does it Ricky's way. And I admire that in him. And so he really needs to be working more. I have to say that.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen who I've always loved his work. Way back with Eddie and the Cruisers and Streets of Fire, Michael Pare.
I will never forget when we did the first table read it was titled Polycarp, as you know, and then when Showtime picked it up and Universal Vivendi picked it up, it became Kinky Killers. Yes, Kinky Killers, you guys. So Michael Pare, I had such Philadelphia Experiment, again, shout out to Philly. I had such a mad crush on him as a little girl, and I was so obsessed with Eddie and the Cruisers. So when I first met him, I almost fainted. Let me say that. And yes, ladies, he's still a very handsome man. I love my husband. He's the most handsome man in the world to me. But I'm just saying, I have such a special place in my heart for Pare. And I will never forget this. He's another one that's just, I have to say, a seasoned professional veteran. And if you would see what we did to him on Kinky Killers and how we were shooting in warehouses in New York and New Jersey and Hoboken in January, and the poor man had his shirt off and we had him taped up, and I have a gun to his head and he's freezing his butt off, and he was such a good sport. He's just such a pro. And I will never forget, because there's a couple of like veteran actors who I've looked up to, like you have, Brandon, my whole life. And Pare was one of them who said to me, he's like, you're a good little actress. You got some real acting chops there. He's like, I'm impressed with you. And I was like, oh, love him. Still friends to this day. Would love to work with him again, and we'll need to one day.
Awesome. And finally, Candyman himself, Tony Todd.
I knew that was coming. Another just mind-blowing experience that I think about. And again, I pinch myself, you guys, to think that I've worked opposite these people. So for one, when I was in high school and I was a kid, I was absolutely obsessed with Candyman, of course, and scared to death with the whole, Candyman in the mirror. I'm not even going to say it because it'll still freak me out. And so I was terrified of Tony Todd, Candyman, terrified. And when Robbie Bryan told me that I would be playing detective partners with Tony Todd, that they had signed him, I was scared, genuinely scared. I'm 5 feet tall, he's 6'5" and big, scary, and his deep voice. And I go onto set. I will never forget the very first day. I flew into New York and I went onto the iMurders set, and Tony came onto set and he gave me the biggest bear hug ever. I will cherish it to this day. He is really nothing. Well, he is, because he's so genuine and so real, and so what you see is what you get, but he's really nothing like what we see in those scary movies. He is like a gentle giant. He's such a generous actor too. Let me say that about Tony. He gave and gave. He's also, he's done Broadway. He's so trained and talented and seasoned. And some people don't know that. And I mean, he's taught acting classes. He was like walking me through scenes and giving me like support, and like, he was just incredible. And he's one of the ones, I knew you were going to bring him up to, who I will never forget. And I took it with me. It was Pare, Tony, and rest his soul, Charles Durning as well. And Tony looked at me and he said, I've done a lot of horror films with a lot of actresses. He's like, you got something, kid. I'm not bullshitting you. You've got something, kid. Like, he was like complimentary of my acting work, and I was insecure, and that was, a hard set for Robbie and I and the whole team. Really ambitious film, as we all know, with stars in it. And, it was very, very challenging, very challenging. So that Tony to me is like my darling still. Whenever I used to see him at events, or we would all get together, we went to go support Robbie Bryan's The Eyes. We all went to support them at the premiere. Tony and I hung out. Like, I just can't say enough about Tony. I really can't, authentically. All these people, everyone you mentioned, you know me a little. For me, and I'm such a Philly, Jersey girl, Brandon, you know this, there's no in between for me. And I know a lot of people, I'm an acquired taste for a lot of people. There's no in between for them either. People either love me or hate me. I either love everyone, or I don't hate. Hate's too strong of a word, and I'm a good person. Like, but so many people, like, if I care about you, you're in my heart forever. And I just love you. And I love all these people. And I live in gratitude for these incredible experiences, and all the ones you're bringing up. Thank you so much, Brandon, because they're a little bit far off memories for me, and times have changed, and the industry has changed so much. So I don't always have these opportunities anymore. And so I'm so grateful for them. And I love every one of these people that you asked me about so very much. I think they're so talented, and I am so blessed to have had these experiences. And if I don't mention people, if I don't like you, I'm never going to be mean, but I'm not going to be warm and fuzzy. I'm just not. I'm not like that.
I'm the same exact way. It was great words you said about Tony. I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years, and always gave me uplifting advice. And he's always just classy, and he holds himself with such grace, even when he's scaring the hell out of people. He's very, very elegant, like some of the greats that we've seen in cinema over the decades. So yeah, and shout out to Robbie and Christy, who have great friends for decades now too. Like, Robbie Bryan's story is one that if people knew, hopefully there's a biopic on Robbie one day, because it's what he's overcome, and he's still smiling and still a great dude, is amazing. So shout out to you, Robbie. I'm going to have him on the show in the future.
I can't wait, because he's going to have a lot to talk about. In fact, his film American Morning has been at like 9 million film festivals. They're winning all these awards. They're just they're like my family too. I mean, we've been through so much together over the years, and they've always supported me in my career. And I'm not going to speak yet, but his film's going to be the first. He's doing a film soon, and it's in LA, and it's going to be the first film that I'm actually going to physically be able to go to since pandemic. And they're being so gracious with COVID compliance. I don't want to say the title because I just don't know. It hasn't been fully announced yet.
Okay.
But let me say this, and Robbie, only because you brought it up, Brandon, and Robbie wrote it from an experience of his personally. And again, I want to be careful what I say, let him share. But I want to say this, that it may be the most beautiful script he's ever written. It is so beautiful, painful, heart-wrenching, yet educational and spiritually inspiring, compelling. I hope it's his best work overall yet. They wrote me a role, and I wouldn't leave my house for anything else right now, and it's going to be in a month from now or so. But it's so beautiful. I'm so grateful, and I'm so blessed when someone writes you a role as an actor, and you know this, for your strengths. And Robbie certainly wrote this role for my strengths. He knows what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of, and what I was challenged with on iMurders. But this project is exquisite. And so I want to shout out to Robbie Bryan, Christy Patello. She's a badass producer, babe. I say that, and beautiful. And again, my family. So I'm getting to work with them here in Hollywood, and I'm so excited and so grateful. And you need to bring them on the show so we can talk about it.
Absolutely. We'll have to bring all of you back. I mean, I'm going to bring Robbie on just to talk about his career, but we'd love to bring you back in the future and talk about that project specifically. I love Robbie and Christy, and again, they've always been hugely supportive of my career. So again, any news about what they're doing, I'm on it. So one of our there's still a few more questions, but I want to know a little bit about how Philly Chick Pictures came to fruition. Like you talked about empowerment and kind of the business, the things that need to change as far as pay scale and the ups and downs. But why did you decide to start Philly Chick Pictures?
Yeah, great question. So, like I shared earlier, my career in New York was pretty amazing at a very, very young age, 21 to 24, whatever it was, 23. Amazing. And signed with huge agents because I was a moneymaker doing Tony and Tina's wedding. And then I was working nonstop as an actress and getting paid well. I was up for a bunch of, I'm saying all this for a reason, I was up for a bunch of TV stuff out in LA and they were flying me out, or I was flying out and testing young and not booking any of it. But I decided, because so many of my friends had moved from New York to LA, that I was going to give it a shot and I had to live out my dreams and just try it. So I moved to LA. So I want you guys to listen to this too in the industry. This is how it works. Just because you're with an agency like a Paradigm or William Morris or whatever in New York, or even a mid-level agency, does not mean they're going to take you in Hollywood. It is an extraordinarily different game. It is a whole other level. And I'm sharing this for any of the young viewers who want to make the transition out to LA. It is a whole other level. And so none of the agents that were that big would take me in LA. I came out, I stayed for a month. My agents back there had set me up with a bunch of meetings, and the agents were like, but where's all your TV? Where's your half hour? Where's your 1 hour? Where, and so it was a complete transition for me, going from New York, being a bigger fish in a smaller pond, and being a known acting entity there, really having had produced a bit unbeknownst to me, because I'd get cast in these indie films in New York, and I would be like, oh, I know so-and-so on that soap opera, and I know so-and-so famous in that Broadway show. I'll connect you. I was always a connector. So when I moved here, signed with a wonderful, wonderful mid-level agency, Epstein, Wyckoff, Corsa Ross. Shout out to Larry Corsa, who just retired. And anyway, and Craig Wyckoff, who was one of my officiants at my wedding, but that's a whole other story. So, I mean, these people have been in my life for so long, and that's really what it's about. So when I moved here, no one was kicking down my door. None of these big agencies signed me, but a mid-level nice agency signed me. I was auditioning a lot, but it was so different. Like in New York, if you're trained, if you have some talent, you can get into an audition room. I was getting into, at a young age, like the, Fox and the heads of Warner Brothers. And I was sitting in, and this is back in the day, they did, this, Brandon, the general auditions. They would actually open their doors, welcome you, and see you.
Yeah, see you.
Does not happen in Hollywood. No, unless you're brought out specifically and you're with a top-tier agent. So what would happen when I came here, I was having auditions, all this stuff. But interestingly enough, I wasn't feeling like I was really right for a lot of the characters they were sending me in for. It didn't really meet my essence or my niche. John Dapolito niche course, everyone. It didn't meet my niche. And I'm like, at some point you're like, I am like banging my head against the wall, clawing at these things, and not having huge success at it, So long story long, there's a lot of answers to it, but I am not one, like we talked about before, to sit and wait for the phone to ring and wait for agents to call and wait for auditions to come. So I knew I had to take the bull by the horns, take charge of my own life and career. And I really had been producing before. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this the professional way, and I'm going to incorporate, I'm going to create a production company so that I can, option scripts that I may be able to act in and maybe write for, and may be able to be a launch pad for my career in Hollywood. And so it took a while. It really did. I want to say this, and then what the other catalyst, like we'll say, that really kind of launched the whole thing with the genre career was when I went to Sundance 2004, and the original Saw was premiering. And I was like, I paid attention, and you couldn't even get tickets to the movie, and people would come out screaming. And I'm like, okay, they're onto something with this psychological horror thriller stuff. And so I had people I acted in their films actually back in New York. Shout out to Ken Del Vecchio and all these other like New Jersey, New York filmmakers. And I said, okay, here's the deal. They were like, let's produce something while you're in LA. And I'm like, okay, I'll be your LA liaison, but what we have to do, I have to do this professionally and systematically. I'm an unknown entity in Hollywood, so we need to write me one of the lead female roles. Will surround me with named actors, and I will help raise the financing. I'll help you package it, all of it. That's what we'll do. And so I said, wait till Saw comes out, watch it. And they did. And that's how Ken Del Vecchio brought Brandon Slagle, who's still a dear friend of mine, who is, really, really exploded as a director recently. And and that's kind of how it took off. So that's how we ended up doing Kinky Killers. We had Charles Durning, we had Michael Pare, we had my buddy Eric Edibari that I brought in from LA. Just, so for indie filmmakers, like that's, or at least that was the way back then, you surround yourself with known entities, known actors. And that's what I did with Philly Chick Pictures. I had to create a career for myself in Hollywood outside of the TV stuff and all, because no one was giving me a break. I'm not a trust fund kid. I'm not, in nepotism in Hollywood. Everything I have worked my big butt off for, like you have, Brandon. I know this. And so you do what you need to do. And that's kind of how I did it. And and look, who knew? I mean, they titled the film, and that's distribution, you guys. The film was Polycarp. It gets picked up. I mean, I thought I was getting fired from my agency. It gets picked up Showtime, right? Which was amazing. It aired on Showtime 3 nights a week for 2 years straight. And they changed it. Universal Vivendi changed it to Kinky Killers. Anyway, who knew? But that's what had the title A Scream Queen bestowed upon me. I embraced every moment of it. Having a film for 3 years straight on Showtime, I mean, and I'm telling you, I had been on network sitcoms, the soap operas, Broadway, nobody cared. I got more phone calls, fan mail. I remember the day real quickly for the horror fans that my manager at the time said, you need to come to the office. And I thought I was getting dropped. I really did. I'm like, oh my God, it's called Kinky Killers. And there's a lot of sexual stuff in it. And I'm getting dropped. So they go, come into the office. There's a stack of fan mail this high that I'd never seen that before. I got fan mail, Tony and Tina's wedding and stuff like that, but this was crazy. And a stack of sticky notes from horror conventions. They're calling you the new It Scream Queen, and they want you to come for a weekend. They're going to pay you $2,000, whatever, which is a lot, to come and hang out at the horror convention for the week. And I'm like, you're really? Okay. And so I embraced it. And that's, and I have always committed, I think, to keeping it at a level and to choosing projects that I believe in with people I believe in with integrity. And that's what Philly Chick Pictures is about.
Put a stamp on that. Everybody knows now. So aside from the new project that you can't speak as much about with Robbie and Christy, what's up next for Brooke Lewis Bellas?
Oh my gosh. As crazy as this is, because everyone knows for the most part, I have a compromised immune system since childhood. Long story, doesn't matter, but I've been incredibly extra mindful with COVID. It's been crazy and amazing at the same time. Brandon and I were chatting. I was saying somehow in some way, my career feels more grounded and more beautiful than ever. I can't wait to get back out there and work face to face with human beings who I love and inspire me. But so much is going on. I mean, first and foremost, I must shout out to one of my best friends, Stacey Lane Wilson, who is an incredible writer and director and super, super multi-talented. We literally just released a film that she wrote with Darren Gordon Smith from Repo, a genetic opera. And he also composed and wrote all unique, amazing, quirky, fun, stylized music. It is I have to say this, sorry horror fans, but this one is a comedy with a little sci-fi, a weird science, and a lot of music and a lot of fun. And who else? So I have to make sure I cover everyone. So Nancy Long was one of our amazing producers. I was one of the executive producers who stayed on the whole 3 years because we got shot with COVID. We ended up with COVID. And so We were working from home the entire time. It was insane. Everything was virtual. And so we have this incredible little film that just released. I say little meaning low budget, beautiful with heart and art. I have to keep stressing that just released recently on Amazon Prime, Google Plus, iTunes. You guys can watch it, Vudu, the list goes on. The Second Age of Aquarius over here. I play, you're going to love this, Brandon. I play Tawny Stevens. She is like a rocker mom. So Alberta Stevens is the lead. There's Tawny.
Oh, nice.
So Christina Jacqueline Kauf, hello, super talented young actress. Amazing. She's the female lead. And Michael Ursu, another super talent actor, musician, charming as can be, adorable. The ladies love him. These young kids, they're not that young, but young kids, younger than us. They're the two leads. Such a great cast. And so that just got released. And so I play Tawny Stevens, her rocker mom. She's in California, back in New Jersey. And I was aspiring to be, back in the 80s, a video vixen. Yes, a video vixen. So I do the Jersey accent, and I have the metal hair and the leopard pants. And, so Stacey Lane Wilson also wrote and directed The Incredible Psychotherapy for Ricky Dean Logan and I. And she writes me just amazing roles. I mean, she just knows my strengths again. I've been so lucky to work with people who I work with over and over again. So everybody check out The Second Age of Aquarius. It is just fun and wonderful, and something that was a gift to all of us throughout the pandemic. I know I have a lot I have to shout out. I don't know how we pulled this off, but the very talented Joshua Butler and I did a virtual web series, and a very hopefully quality one. I think I'm proud of that. Philly Chick Pictures and Philly Chick Pictures also was one of the executive producers on Second Age of Aquarius, but that Philly Chick Pictures, like, I own this project, and Josh and I are both so perfectionistic and so professional, and wanted to make something during the pandemic because we had shot a proof of concept for a film actually just before the pandemic. So see, it messed with all of our lives, you guys, and our careers. And so it's titled Red Rooms. And when the pandemic really hit, and I'm like, I can't. And I actually had been really sick already for like 2 months. And I'm like, I cannot just sit and go crazy. I mean, Brandon, we talked about this, right? I'm not sitting and going crazy. And Josh said, what are we going to do with this proof of concept for the film? I'm like, you know what we're going to do? We are going to make it a web series. We're going to do it 100% virtually. We are going to make it work. I'm going to call in and cast my associates, my dear friends, people who I love and work with before, and know that I know these people are so freaking talented that they can handle anything. And so that's what we shot and posted for so long, because everything was so challenging during the pandemic. We were a bit behind with editing and everything like that. And so I'm super excited for Red Rooms to come out. I signed a deal for distribution, streaming distribution, in January, right after the new year. I can't say just yet, but it should be out. My wonderful, wonderful sales agents say it should be out hopefully in June. We are fingers crossed. We're submitted and actually accepted to a bunch of the online award shows, like the good ones, so fingers crossed for that. But real quickly, I mean, for all the horror fans, listen to who I got to spend virtual time with, which was wild, and it would take too long to get into too much detail. We can do it on another show, Brandon, but Absolutely. It was so insane doing this project. We literally killed ourselves. I'm not even kidding. Everybody was safe in their homes, being shot virtually during a pandemic. So, I mean, I've got David Alpay from The Vampire Diaries, Susan Lanier from the original Hills Have Eyes, Ricky Dean Logan is in it again, and he's everybody. The acting is perfection, really. And the amazing Noah Blake, another friend of mine for over 20 years, who from, Teen Witch when he was a kid. I mean, just... Oh, wow. I mean, yes, like veteran greats who I am so lucky to not only get to work with repeatedly, but to call my dear friends. I mean, truly, like, I sometimes have to pinch myself. I'm like, did I really come from like the streets of Philly and Jersey, and here I am in Hollywood, and like, these are my people? It's amazing. I know you get it. And so that happened. Also, quick shout out to Kurt Weiser, who, we were like on social media. He reached out, made a direct offer to me through my reps during last year. Still, like, it was more spring, summer, I would say. So after the thick of the big pandemic, he was doing a virtual podcast series that he was filming virtually and offered me one of the great roles. I love my role. It's amazing. It's about a chat room and it's called Leave Quietly. So there's that, another great group of actors. And so that happened. So that's in post-production. I'm just an actress on that one. So I'm very grateful. And you'll have to keep a lookout for that. I'll keep you posted. Oh my gosh, I don't want to forget anything. There's like another huge film that I'm not allowed to talk about that we've been filming through pandemic. We've been doing pickups. I had to do scenes via green screen for pickups in my house. I mean, this is what filmmakers, indie filmmakers, what we are doing. And it has some huge, huge names in it. I mean, like huge. Yeah. So I can't talk about it, but fingers crossed.
Next time. Yes. Next time. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all insane. And then one other quick shout out. So, and then I'm about to do Robbie's film that I'm not allowed to talk about. And then I'm also working with Kurt Weiser on another thing that you guys, for anybody who, and especially probably your viewers, like, so, you know, the audio podcast series got really popular during pandemic, right? Like that, the narrative performance ones. Mm-hmm. So like Demi Moore did one, Chloe Grace Moretz did one, and they became so hot in Hollywood that I started talking to my managers, my voiceover agent. And so we are actually packaged right now to do an audio podcast, like a narrative audio drama, it's called, and it's titled A Voice in Violet, that we developed all last fall into this year. So, I mean, I don't even know what to say. So what I'm doing, Brandon, is like what we all do, what you do, being a visionary and making things work at, you know, in this crazy like world right now, you know, and that's all I know how to do. I just have to like keep moving forward.
You're an outlaw. That's why you're here. That's why your hustle is strong. And I mean, again, this so uplifting, so uplifting. CJ Robles said she's a can do anything type badass. Absolutely. You'll need to make a flick together. Too much combined talent. Thank you. We definitely will at some point.
At some point, we have to make one in Philly, and Jersey.
In Philly, absolutely. South Philly too. Yes, I just did one last year in South Philly. But yeah, I'm gonna make something of. I have something cooking. I'll talk to you about. But Mr. Kenny V33V says hi, gorgeous. I don't know who that is, but do you know Kenny? I don't know. Who is
it?
I just Mr. Kenny V33.
What? Kenny? Oh, we love Kenny. Kenny is another constant, years and years, the most supportive fan turned friend. I don't even know what to say. He is there for me for everything. Kenny, I love you. And this is what happens, you guys, when you open up and appreciate and allow people into your world. You know, I have the greatest, I have the greatest friends and stuff like that, but I have the greatest fan base who I just cherish. And again, we would be nothing without you guys.
So she said it. Stephen Chang, Brooke Lewis Bellas is one of my favorite scream queens. Bob Eckhart, such a fun movie. Second Age of Aquarius. Tawny Stevens is hot from Mr. Kenny. Bob Eckhart. I'd fly home to Jersey for that.
Well, I think one of the most inspirational ones. Where was it? I lost it. No, where'd it go? Give me a second.
Was it the Stephen?
Wait,
Chang?
Can I shout out real quickly for the horror fans? Stephen Chang right now, and I think you've got like 2 days left, you guys. The Women of Darkness, Women in Horror Month, Women of Darkness tarot cards. And thank you, Stephen, thank you, tarot cards. I am actually the final award card if you buy the whole set. So go to tarotcards.com. You have like 2 days. It goes just the month of February for Women in Horror Month. Thank you, Stephen. There, see, he said it. Yes. So head on over, you guys, and support the beautiful ladies in horror.
Absolutely. So Joe, go ahead, please.
I think this is one of the biggest compliments for this type of show.
Absolutely.
Brandon, read it.
Just watching this is giving me a script idea. Thank you, Brooke Lewis Bellas. There you go.
Thank you so much. Well, whatever you do, you include Brandon.
Hey, you heard it here. It's live and it's taped. So there you go. So, Mr. Ridgely, this contest, this giveaway, like, how does that work?
We have a winner. I got trigger happy. And it went through.
Wait, Joe, can I say something real quick? Are you able with the system to pick 2 more winners too?
I am. I believe I am.
Let me many wonderful people who showed up. We can't not do it. How about we do 3?
Let me put it up one more time before I do that. Hold on 1 second. Everybody tuning in, comment hashtag the Indie Escape in order to enter. So give me one moment. The first winner is Jeff Linebach. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jeff, for watching, for supporting IOU.
Give me one moment, because this program's new to me, and
it's such a gracious offer. Thank you, Brooke.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Tarot cards again from Stephen Chang. Awesome. Bob Eckhart said, I'd fly to Jersey for that, which I think he was talking about a collaboration movie between us, I believe. So, but yeah, we'll make that happen in the near future, Bob.
Bob's from Jersey originally. He lives in Australia.
Oh, okay, awesome.
He's
Cheers
the best.
from down under, Bob. Thank you for watching, buddy. Thank you.
Awesome. Sorry, there's a little bit of programming in here.
All right. This is awesome. This has been an amazing show. You definitely have to come back, Brooke. Thank you.
Thank you.
So why don't we do this? I'm going to ask Brooke, like, for her last nugget of knowledge to impart on our audience, and then we'll announce the final winner. And then before we say goodnight. Well, how about that, Mr. Ridgely?
Do whatever you like, sir. I've got the second winner.
Oh, the third. Oh, yes. Let's do the second winner, please. CJ Robles. Yes. CJ.
And you guys let me know if you want to do another one. It's going to take me a moment to do it.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll get her nugget of knowledge for the audience, and then when you come up to ask her about her socials, then we will do that.
I shall return, and everybody again, comment the Indie Escape for a chance to win an autographed picture of tonight's guest.
You heard it here. All right, Brooke. So what I ask every guest at the end of their show is, again, you've already imparted a ton of knowledge that people can watch forever now and get uplifted from. But yeah, just ask our guests to and you can. I was going to ask you from both sides. Can you give some words of wisdom, good or bad, to actors out there that are watching, to film producers, filmmakers out there that are watching, and just some nuggets of knowledge and truth that they can leave tonight with?
So like I said earlier, the industry has changed so drastically in the last 20 years that sometimes I even feel lost as a veteran in it, and I have to choose to find my way. And so let me start with the actors. For the actors, and you've heard this, it's very cliche, you've heard it a million times, but if there is anything else in the world that excites you, that lights your fire and makes your heart sing more than acting, go do it, because it is a very inconsistent and sometimes very gut-wrenching experience. Brandon and I both will attest to that. Don't do it for the fame, don't do it for the fortune, especially these days. Do it because it fills your soul. And there's nothing, like, for me, I've tried so many other professions. I've had side hustles all over the place. I've made a lot of money doing them. There is nothing that fills my soul like acting. I love it in every part of my being. So I encourage you, if you do too, follow that and don't ever stop. And the good news, I like to always be positive in the end. The good news is there are more opportunities now, as we know, than ever before, whether it is creating a YouTube video, whether it's becoming, doing a TikTok video, and I'm a different school. That's not my bag, but you can do. Listen, I've worked with people who've done very low budget indie films. Shout out Greg Lamberson. He doesn't keep a secret. Slime City Massacre, Killer Rack. He's doing Guns of Eden now that I'm one of the executive producers on. I mean, I'm talking, $150,000 films, which are low budget in the scheme of things, but you can do it. He does it, and he does it with professionalism over and over and over again. So can you. And I mean films for you to even act in. As far as the producing, oh boy. And Brandon and I have chatted about this again. And, we were laughing earlier going like, well, it seems like Brandon said it, I can't take the credit. Like every gaffer now on a shoot, it suddenly becomes a director suddenly, and respectfully, we love you gaffers. This is the thing though. And I'm going to say it straight. I think where we're missing things right now in the industry is everybody really wants to stay in your lane. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what you bring to the table. For me, and it is a bone of contention as a producer all the time, because every single thing, I have never, ever as an actress just been given a credit. Oh, come act in my film and you'll get a producer credit. I'm not down with that. That's not the school I came up in. That's not what I went to school for. It's not what I studied. I have studied and taken workshop after workshop and class after class. So did Brandon, both as an actress, both as a producer. Like that is not, we were talking earlier about, me directing. I attempted directing once. I respect the profession, and I say profession so damn much. I couldn't disrespect it enough to think that I am a director. I may be able to direct actors because I know acting a bit, but I do not claim to be a director. Know your place, study, and skill yourself and get the experience, and don't swap out credits, because here's the thing. In the end, when you do get to a level and you are faced with, a situation where it's like, oh, you're a film producer. Oh, you're an executive producer. Oh, you're a, DP, and you are forced to step up and face that challenge. You will fail and you will fall. You cannot fake it when it comes to the professionalism. You cannot fake it when it comes to doing the industry at a real level. I promise you this. I know everything is so oversaturated. You also can't fake it when it comes to real distribution. Yes, you can go and you can self-distribute. There are a million platforms to do so. It doesn't mean you're going to get the level of respect from the industry as when, Lionsgate is putting out your product. And that, I could sit here for an entire, an entire session with you, Brandon, and we both could, and talk about what it takes just to deliver a film. And people who don't do it, right? Like to get to distribution. I'm dealing with it right now with Red Rooms. We just completed delivery. I mean, people, like you have no idea because it looks easy and it's not. You're paying for everything from closed captioning to conversions of files to, artwork. I mean, it's unbelievable and it looks easy and it isn't. And it takes time to build your skills and build experience and build a resume and have relationships with people, because that really is what's about, that old cliche, and do a good job. And so here's what I have to say to the filmmakers. And let me say this too, real quickly, Brandon, and I'm honored that you call me a filmmaker. I always say, I don't really fancy myself a filmmaker. I am an actress and I'm a producer and an executive producer. I know a lot about the business, you guys, the business of producing. And so I respect filmmakers like you, Brandon. I respect filmmakers so much because there is such an art and a skill to it, like directing, like being an accomplished screenwriter, like being an accomplished DP or an accomplished AC. That is such a filmmaker like skill. And as a producer, I fancy myself to learn and know a lot of the departments. I feel like I've had to, and I take that on because I respect it so much. But like, I'm more of a producer, like a business, like creatively and business, obviously. But like filmmaker to me is such an honor, and it's such a craft, and it's such a skill, and it's something that you go to school for and you work your way to earn that sort of title as a filmmaker. So I'm being dead honest right now. So I want to say that too. So you guys, it's so frustrating and we could talk for hours about it, but know your lane, know your place respectfully, work hard, do the blood, sweat, and tears, earn your keep, earn your stripes like I did. I paid my dues, Brandon paid his dues. You know, Joe, respectfully, I don't know you as well. I can't wait to know more. You know, but like I can see it even from here. You guys are professional in how you handle your show. So that's what I have to say, and I have to say a lot more, but I'm going to shut up because we'll be here all night. I don't want to keep you too late. I know.
Well, it's funny because one of my shows for April that I have jotted down on my cheat sheets for this show is a producers panel. So I'd love to have you back with a few other producers that I have written down too. So I know you could add a lot of experience and knowledge to that panel. So that's something we will definitely do, possibly in April. So yeah. But again, thank you for those words of wisdom to actors and filmmakers. Anybody who's watching, like, you got a masterclass. She's on fire tonight. Like, this is just, I mean, gosh, I mean, it's unbelievable. And the comments are stellar. I mean, from Bob, from CJ, from Steve, from Kenny, like CJ was loving the knowledge. You're on fire tonight, Brooke. Way to keep serving up that knowledge. I've learned so much from this show tonight. Thank you all so much. And yeah, I need to take a class from you on how to be a good producer. I would sign up, as would many, because again, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show, because not just to ask how it was to work with amazing talent. That stuff is cool, but it's also to educate and give knowledge about this business and the ups and the downs, and not to sugarcoat it. That's why I say on the graphic, real talk with real creatives and professionals, because we're trying to impart something, even if you get a little bit of a nugget that helps you tomorrow or Monday make a better decision. Or because again, I've made plenty of mistakes in my career. Brooke has said she's made mistakes in her career, as has Courtney and Tiffany and Rob Schmidt and any of our guests. Anybody that's in the business that's done it with longevity has made mistakes. So, but it's good to learn from them and to keep moving and to never quit. So just like, again, Brooke so eloquently said tonight. So again, Mr. Ridgely, do we have a third winner of our gracious guest's autograph?
We absolutely do. Bear with me 1 second.
Absolutely. Stephen Chang, Brooke is one of the many reasons fans enjoy horror. She inspires, indeed.
Thank you, Stephen. You're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our third winner, John Wood. Congratulations, John. Congrats, John. So again, Brooke, Joe and I and the rest of the IE family, we can't thank you enough for these 3 giveaways to the people that are watching, for imparting such amazing knowledge tonight to everyone. You see Joe's face there. My face was, even with this bad tooth that I need to get pulled, I'm like smiling and grinning from ear to ear, because again, this is, like I said, this is what the show's about. I wanted people to learn and have a good time and hear good stories of uplifting and just stories that are real from real people. And you're one of the realest. So again, we definitely will work together in the near future. And thank you so much for coming on IE tonight. I very much appreciate it.
I am so grateful. I know we talked about this a while ago. I'm so grateful to come onto your new show that is such a success and to spend time talking. And again, yes, I will definitely come back. We have a ton more to discuss, but let me just end it saying thank you both, Brandon and Joe. I appreciate you taking the time and your professionalism and your diligence, and it's been amazing. And to all the viewers, thank you so much. The fans, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for always supporting, always, Twitter, Instagram, all of it. And please let me end on a positive by saying this, you guys, it's quality over quantity. And sometimes that gets lost in this industry, and everybody cares about their IMDb credits. It is quality over quantity, and you can make quality content. I promise you, you can do it. My associates have done it. I don't know how some of them do it. Like, what they do is mind-blowing on a super low budget. Just commit to doing professional work, please. That's all I care about. I'll act in your film as long as it's union and as long as it's professional. I don't need, $10,000 a day at this point. Honestly, like, professionalism wins for me, and it starts with a script. Let me say that too to all the screenwriters out there. It is, for me, all about the script.
Amen. Well, again, thank you. It's Women in Horror Month, and you're way more than a scream queen. You're a badass. You're an outlaw. Thank you so much, Brooke. Please, audience, if we could cheer from wherever you are, raise a glass to our guest tonight, Brooke Lewis Bellas. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. Love to you guys. Love to Philly, Jersey. Gino Steaks. Did you see I tagged Gino Steaks and they liked it?
Yes.
The show tonight.
Shout out Geno's and show my man Tony Luke some props. Pats to everybody in South Philly. Yes, everybody. So again, thank you, Brooke. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you in person finally in the near future, and I know we'll do something badass together. So
100%. We've been talking about it for far too long.
Yes, talking. Yes. Barbara Field says, "Love you, Brooke."
Barbara, oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. This was like a virtual party. It was like a Friday night virtual party. I love it, Barbara. Mwah! Thank you, everyone, for showing up for us and hanging out. I love it. Everybody stay healthy, stay happy, and always go after your goals and dreams, no matter what.
Thank you. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Holy crap, man.
Wow. Thank you, IE audience. Thank you for sticking with us. This was a longer episode, but again, it felt like it went by like wind because again, the knowledge she dropped was
what an amazing guest! Holy crap!
I mean, again, I'm so glad I didn't even ask some of my questions because I just organically was just kind of spitballing certain things just off of her energy. So yeah, but I mean, we're definitely going to do the producers panel upcoming in April, and that's going to be not just Brooke, but probably 3 other amazing producers that are doing stuff from Hollywood.
She could have easily taken up 3 episodes with her knowledge. That was
absolutely. It's amazing. It's and that's just like I just said to Brooke. It's like, and you and I have talked about off air. It's like. The energy that she brought is the type of energy we want on all of our shows. We want everybody to watch, subscribe, share, like the YouTube for the IE network and everything. Check out our IMDb that we have growing. And again, it's not just about like celebrities and filmmaking and acting and things like that. It's about knowledge. And she dropped a lot of knowledge and real talk about what this business is, good and bad. Because I didn't have that necessarily when I was growing up. Someone giving me that. I still to this day educate myself and read and just stay up on the times with technology that changes every blue moon. Like so for me, it's like to hear that from somebody that's been doing it for a long time. It's invaluable to CJ and to anybody that's a filmmaker or actor, and it's invaluable to me because again, it validates the quit, that what she said about not quitting, because again, you have to be passionate about doing this, or else you might as well just go do something else, because there's so much rejection, there's so much downtime that like there's lean years where you're eating tuna and ramen. And not just when you're
wait a minute. You could afford tuna?
That sometimes that
ramen. What are you talking about?
Sometimes that was a little bit of a struggle, but again, it's in your blood if you just keep going, you keep taking the hits and keeping going, and like Brooke's hustle is why she's been doing this for so long and at a successful level. So. And that's uplifting to anybody who's watched. So again, thank you for sticking with us for this episode.
Wait a minute, there's more. I've got a teaser announcement for tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Yes. So we've been discussing doing other shows on the network, and what we've been lacking in is the music industry. So we're going to be teaming up with an indie music artist. He has a show right now, but he's going to be crossing over to the Indie Escape, and he's going to be interviewing indie musicians and discussing his own work. There's the teaser. If anybody knows what that is, they can look it up. But I think we're going to make a formal announcement Sunday night.
Nice.
So,
awesome.
Yes, very exciting stuff coming
That is exciting. That very much is exciting. Thanks for sharing that nugget here on IOU. I appreciate it. That's, again, we're growing, and we're gonna get bigger. We're gonna have more, like you said, like you just heard, we're gonna have more hosts. We're just gonna continue to just grow this. I mean, it's kind of a grassroots thing, but that you started, Joe, a long time ago, and it went through different phases of it. Now I think we're where we're gonna find our legging. We're gonna find our bearings, and we're gonna be able to grow
I'm
this
comfortable
up.
saying it now. It's been, tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary since George Romero and I stopped working together. It was our last episode. I'm comfortable saying that now.
Wow. Okay.
So.
And then again, the blessing is that for CJ, for Gabe, for Daniella, for Ray,
all of us,
for Scott, for David, for the other Scott, Schiaffo, the blessing is that this is continued, and that we're still doing it, we're still fighting, we're still hustling, and we're going to grow this thing like as big as it can grow. So, because we're already like a family unit that supports each other's shows and everything like that. And a lot of us have never even met in person before. So, but again, the vibes that we've created over this short period of time have been great. So again, I'm just looking forward to continuing to grow with this, and whether it's through the guests and just through the convention thing that we're a part of this summer and everything. So again, this is going to be something that, like I tell people every day, we got this, exactly. But I tell people all the time, every week, that don't sleep on the Indie Escape, because we're coming. And we're coming hard, so it's like,
we're putting in the hours,
we're putting in the time. We're giving good content every day of the week, and we're going to continue to give more, like you just heard, and just covering different things, from creative stuff like Steve Gibbs and Scott. I love the fact that it's so diverse. There's so many different things. It's not all one thing. So, and again, thank you, Bob, CJ, John, Daniella, Stephen Chang. Everybody else that watched and might not have said anything online, you guys are all appreciated. You guys have an amazing weekend. Stay safe, stay warm. If you're in a place like that's cold where I am, so not necessarily, it's not where you are, Joe, probably.
No.
But yeah. So I mean, this has been a great show. I feel uplifted, even with this tooth. I mean, again, I couldn't help but smile throughout that hour and a half. So thank you again to our guests tonight, Brooke Lewis Bellas, for an amazing interview. And again, I'm going to sign off with the weekly thing. Believe in the power of yourself and the right others, like someone like Brooke Lewis Bellas. Have a good weekend, everybody. Peace.